Check out this man meat right here.
Oh, no, not the
Man meat.
Welcome back to another strange and mysterious Whoop-dee podcast. Of course, I'm one of your hosts, G. Introduce yourself, fellas.
Matthew Roybal, Define 999 here.
Back again, a little tired, huh? A little tired.
Had a wedding. Tired.
Yeah.
Dragging a bit.
Last but not least,
the McVicer.
It's McVice, and I know I haven't been here for a while, but I'm back.
he's back, right?
He's back on the
like
attack.
Arnold. Hey, I'll be back. Instruction everywhere.
I tell him, don't. What did he say? The guy that he breaks his neck on the airplane. Please leave my friend alone. Excuse my friend.
Tired.
He's dead tired.
Hey, my favorite Arnold is what happened to Buzzsaw? Oh, he had to split.
Oh yeah, he split it.
That's my favorite right
Or
there.
the one on Commando where he throws that knife and it gets the guy into the wall. He's all stick around. You remember that one?
Hey,
Oh, yeah, dude.
classic.
Commando
Classic.
had some good ones, because Commando, he's like, I eat green berets for lunch, you know?
Yeah.
Just like,
Yeah, Commando had some real. That's where most of those came from.
yeah, I know.
Don't disturb my friend. He's dead tired.
It's,
Stick around.
Stick around.
oh, man.
Yeah, those are classic 80s movies.
There's gonna be people 100 years from now watching that movie and laughing.
They
right?
better be. They better be.
Yeah.
No, I agree. All right, so tonight I thought we'd, dive into something that's always been real interesting to me, which is the Eisenhower address when he starts talking about the military industrial complex, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I always thought that was fascinating that he would bring that up at that time. So y'all's ready to get started?
Mm-hmm.
Do it. Let's check it out, Holmes.
Let's do it.
I come to you with a message of leave-taking and farewell.
This speech did not get very much attention. When a new president is coming to power, as John Kennedy was, the spotlight was not on Dwight Eisenhower.
We have been compelled to create a permanent armaments industry of vast proportions.
There was a feeling at the time that this must have been written by some speechwriter who just sneaked into the speech.
In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
3 months ago, we got contacted by a family up in Minnesota saying
You can
that
totally
we
tell that
have
guy has a wig.
documents from Malcolm Lewis. He was responsible in part for drafting the military-industrial complex speech.
These new papers give us written evidence that this was not just some caprice of Eisenhower's or something by some speechwriter.
You see the evolution of his speech from May 1959 to 1961.
And he wanted to give this speech for a long time, 2 years.
Our military organization today bears little relation to that known of any of my predecessors in peacetime, or indeed by the fighting men of World War II or Korea.
There was one person in Dwight Eisenhower's life whom he really confided almost everything to, and that was his brother Milton.
There's one particular document where the speechwriters had already drafted their version of the speech, only to see Milton come along and totally revamp what had already been written.
When Milton Eisenhower was taking notes and writing things on the drafts of these speeches, the speechwriters knew that it wasn't Milton talking, it was Ike.
The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist.
He would see magazines with advertisements for some, new warplane or some bomb, and he got so angry he'd take the magazine and throw it into the fireplace of the Oval Office because he felt that defense spending should not be something that would be encouraged by companies who are seeking commercial gain.
We must never let the weight of this combination endanger our liberties or democratic processes.
There is an interesting document. It shows that the farewell speech will be made to Congress. But yet, President Eisenhower decided, no, he was going to address the people.
Only an alert and knowledgeable citizenry can compel the proper meshing of the huge industrial and military machinery of defense with our peaceful methods and goals, so that security and liberty may prosper together.
One test of how well a president speaks is how long the speech lives. Here we are 50 years later, we're still talking about this speech.
Now, on Friday noon, I am to become a private citizen. I am proud to do so. I look forward to it. Thank you, and good night.
So, what do you guys think? Like, do you think that there is more to this? Do you think that this was, some people talk about, because of Roswell and everything that had happened, that he was talking about the military, getting all this private technology and then resourcing it out to, big companies so that they could develop, weaponry or whatever from these things in order, to, of course, advance the technology, but also, on their side, gain wealth and power, right? Or was it just a simple, I don't like what I'm seeing, that the military is just, expanding out and being commercialized? What do you guys think?
Of course there was more to it. I mean, that was a president really saying, all right, fuck this. I'm saying something before I leave office, And there's so much that he's not saying, but saying a lot at the same time. That, yes, he absolutely, I mean, this guy was a general in the Army, the general of the Army during World War II. You know what I mean? This is a man who reached the highest rank in the Army, who was a very powerful general. For him to come out and say that, after his tenure as president says a lot,
What year was that, guys? 61?
I think it was 61.
Go ahead, McVice.
So what do you think, what do you think he was specifically talking to? Was it private industry that he was afraid of? Was it, was it alien technology? Was it something else?
Yeah, he was talking to the people. He was basically alluding to that there was another government, and that government had a tie into the military industrial complex, and that they were very powerful. And he was basically warning them of their scope of control, because on the conspiracy realm, there's a lot of things surrounding Eisenhower. Like supposedly he was the president who went out to Area 51 because he didn't realize it existed. And he went there and found out that, basically they had their own military and all kinds of crap, And then, there's the alien, I'm doing that in quotations. You can't see it right now. The whole alien technology angle and all this stuff, Supposedly Eisenhower saw a lot of crap and he was pissed off, I don't know, though. There's even more to it than that. So, at the very least, that was his warning to the American people,
Yeah. What do you think there? Define. What was Eisenhower trying to tell us?
I agree with McVice. I think it was his way of saying there's a power within the government that's not answerable to the people.
Yeah.
Right. Because really, if we drill down into the UFO conspiracy, it's that there's people making decisions not for what's best for the constituents of this country, but
or
what
humanity.
They feel, or even humanity, you could say that. Who knows? But there should be representatives of the people involved in a lot of those decision-making processes, for one. And then two, I think by that time, by 61, we'd already gotten out of Korea. But remember, after World War II, the kind of I kind of think of it as like a ball rolling down a hill, right? The economy was so juiced by the weapons manufacturers and the companies that were coming out of that Korea happened, continued to juice, right? And then into the 50s and 60s, into the late 50s, he must have seen the power, and not only that, money, the wealth, getting, because it wasn't just private industry. Remember, a lot of those companies, essentially, they're sucking on the government teat of military contracts, right? So it was like this. It was like this spiral of the company, the government's pumping money into those industries. Those industries are then pumping money into lobbying and getting what they want out of the government. I mean, look at Boeing and Northrop Grumman. They probably have whole blocks on K Street, right? They probably own whole buildings in the lobbying area of Washington. And so it creates this monster, but then the economies of those states, well, look at New Mexico. Who's one of the largest employers of any real means? Like I'm talking about good jobs, 6-figure jobs and up. It's the military industrial complex.
Yeah.
In New Mexico has, if look at Alamogordo. That city would not exist if that fucking base wasn't there.
You're absolutely right.
Look what happened to Roswell when Walker Air Force Base left. The town collapsed in on itself, and some people would say is still economically trying to dig its way out of that hole that happened when Walker Air Force Base got canceled. So, I think it could be a mixture of both. He probably saw a lot of crazy shit. If you're looking at it in the conspiracy angle, the president right after him, he was a military guy, so he was a good soldier, right? He wasn't going to go spouting secrets. He was safe. But then here comes along John F. Kennedy, and guess what? Supposedly he took, in post-coitus, you're banging the most beautiful girl in the world, Marilyn Monroe.
Right.
And do you know what I mean? And so you let slip that you saw an alien or you saw a thing. And then all of a sudden, Marilyn Monroe dies of an overdose, and John F. Kennedy shot later. A lot of people believe his assassination was by the military industrial complex.
Yeah.
Or forces that were in how do I put this? Forces that were aligned with them.
Yeah, in league with them.
Maybe maybe there wasn't like CEOs at Boeing and other places that were involved in that, but there were people whose best interests were going to be served. And then if you look at all the conflict that we've had since World War II, you go from World War II, it's almost like every decade, right? Then you got Korea. Then you get into the 60s, you get Vietnam. Then after Vietnam, you get the Cold War. What does the Cold War do? Luckily, it doesn't turn hot, really. But you know how much money Ronald Reagan pushed into to try to make Star Wars happen, and it never happened. So much money.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's what I agree with McFice. I think it could be either one of those two things, but probably both.
Yeah, if you want to watch a really good documentary, and I believe it's on Netflix, it's called The Octopus. And it kind of touches with that where, government and big business align for their own, spoils, right?
For their own needs.
Regardless of the, the American citizen or whatever, what they wanted, right? And basically what The Octopus is about, this guy, started to uncover that the government had taken a program, right? And that program has been used and, manipulated, to go in and infiltrate our enemies and our allies, right? It's like a backdoor to their programs and everything, right? Well, the guy sued and the government, they had to pay so much money, but then they went back to court and
lost it.
They basically removed the judge that had gained the money for the person, right? And they basically blocked it, right? And then the guys he started going down the rabbit hole. He started seeing different pieces go off to different industries, right? And it led him to the desert and everything. And then they found him. He was
dead,
killed, right, in West Virginia, right? So if you want a really good one, it kind of talks about that stuff. The Octopus, look it up. It's really good. It's a 4-part series. Really, really good. But, all those things together, I think that was the beginning, right? Of maybe Eisenhower seeing these different corporations start putting their hands, in the pot for whatever technology, for whatever reason, right? And then gaining more and more power over the government, right? And I
Right.
think, to me, I think that's what becomes dangerous, right? Is
Yep.
that just like in JFK's speech, beware the people that are trying to control from the shadows, right?
Mm.
That is another speech from JFK that was really interesting, right? So I don't know. It's you can, I mean, ultimately we don't know, what he was talking about per se, as far as the military industrial complex, but we kind of can, foresee certain things, whether it is into black projects, whether it is into UFOs or whatever else is going on,
Or
right?
even if it's just lobbying, even if it's
Yeah,
just,
even if
well,
it's just
because
lobbying,
back
right?
then super PACs didn't exist, right? All this
Yeah.
dark money didn't exist. Back in the 60s, if a corporation donated to your campaign, it was public knowledge, right?
Hmm.
So they were way more shifty in how they did it, right? Then
Yeah.
here comes along corporations or people, super PACs that can contribute to political. Those vehicles of lobbying didn't exist back then. That's like a
Hmm.
feature of from the 80s and on, I believe, and 90s. So I think
Um,
he just knew, even if we take all the conspiracy stuff out of it, he just knew that, again, that weird cycle of the government needs this private or corporation, right?
yeah.
So they pump that corporation with money. That corporation then takes profit. Then you have to also factor in that at around the time of Vietnam, that's when the military industrial complex really started selling their
Yeah.
weapons to other countries, right? If you're allied with America, it was like the most amazing fucking you know fucking Walmart of weapons that you could have. As long as you could afford them, you could roll in here and every new, they weren't just making money selling weapons to the government. They were selling them to all of NATO.
Yep.
So the amount of money that then allows those corporations to lobby and get politicians basically in their pocket, that's dangerous
Yep.
because then the politicians, they don't have our back. They're first and foremost beholden
The money.
to the companies that give them the most money to retain their jobs
Yeah.
and power and influence, period. Not your average Joe out on the street. And that's what we're sort of seeing, in these town halls that we're seeing happen everywhere. Both Democrat and Republicans, people are pissed and they're going to these things and they're saying, you're fundamentally changing the government in programs that I need to survive. And
Mhm.
you know that this is like a symptom. You could take his speech as the beginning. And so all these symptoms, and now we're getting into the terminal disease portion of it, right?
Mhm.
Where we really have absolutely no say in what happens because there's too much money in the system.
So real quick, we're almost going to be out of time. Do you want to continue this conversation or do you want to end it?
We can continue if you guys want, or if
Yeah,
we're done.
I'm good.
You
Yeah.
want to end it or you want to keep going, McVice?
We can keep going.
Okay. Really quick, Matt. 3 times I've seen some strange shit in your camera.
What?
I
Like
seen
what?
this like floating thing go to your left, and then I see something go up by your computer, straight up by your TV. Or your, yeah.
Well, I told you guys, didn't I tell you guys that there's strange shit in this house and that sometimes
Yeah.
I'll literally have I'll be gaming late at night and I'll have my headphones and I'll just get a feeling that there's someone in the kitchen. A
Yeah.
feeling.
It was
Like,
strange. I was
like
looking
that.
at it and I was like, what the fuck is that? It looked like 3 little dots fly to your left, like out. It
Mhm.
was weird. So we have
Weird.
it on camera, so we'll have to take a look at
We'll
it.
have to go back and look at it. But I mean, honestly, there's some shit. I think there's some energies in this house. Heather believes that sometimes it's her mom,
Yeah.
but I think I told you guys that story about how I had that nightmare
Mhm.
and it was like a woman in a Victorian era dress
Hmm.
and I could have sworn she was at the foot of my bed and I was awake. Like I dreamed her And then I woke up and I was looking at the foot of the bed, and I might not have been able to fully see that woman in the Victorian dress with my eyes, but I felt her.
Oh, that's crazy.
But that was the weird one. But the thing in the kitchen is it doesn't feel angry or negative.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like sometimes it's just like, I mean, again, I'll have my headphones on and I'll hear what I think is like a sound. It's loud enough to go through my headphones. And I'll look and I'll go, oh yeah, you fucking with me? Okay, yeah. Do your thing. I'm trying to win this game of Overwatch or whatever.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, I think that there could possibly be some either one or a couple little.
You see it again?
Another one. Yeah, I
Did you
did.
see it?
What the fuck was that?
Dude, that's the third time I've seen that.
Hold
That's
on.
the third time I've seen that shit.
Hold on.
I must be blind.
Dude, that's fucking crazy. That's the third time I've seen that shit. I seen it before and I thought, oh, it's a bug. And then another one, it shot straight up from the computer up. And then there was these three lights that were twisting and it went to the left. That's strange.
Oh no,
Hey,
that
we
one
might
I
have
saw.
an extra
Well,
guest. You saw that one though,
I
right?
saw that one. Yeah, I was like, wait, what's
Strange,
that?
huh?
That was
That's the
strange.
third time I've seen that shit.
Yeah, I don't know if there's dust. I don't know.
I don't know.
Weird.
All right, so let me resend it back because we're about to end it. But that's strange
Okay. That is
and
strange,
mysterious.
And mysterious, yeah.
Man. Yeah, how crazy would that be if we actually caught shit on camera while our podcast was going on? That takes
cool.
it to a whole nother level.
So yeah, that was a bit interesting. I don't know
Yeah.
exactly what that was, but
I know. So yeah, I was right there by the TV, and then there's that one that I saw. Did you see that,
Yeah.
McVice?
I didn't see it live, I didn't see it right away.
It was like right over my head.
and it shot up.
Yeah, it went up.
That was the second time it did that. So that's
weird.
what made me go, that's weird. And then when I saw that little dangly thing fall down and twist and fade off, that was like, that's strange. So,
Something strange.
hey, who you gonna call? So I'm asking.
Well, we're kind of, as I think a lot, honestly, I think people in paranormal situations that aren't extreme, just like, it's weird to say that a paranormal living situation could be mid, right? But in mid ones where there's some surprises or here or there, or then people kind of justify, oh, that's our friendly ghost. We see they pop in once in a while, blah, 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 blah. I just think that maybe not all of these kind of spiritual transformations have to be they don't all have to be violent, scary, or like I say, I want to see violence. In fact, I bet you the negative ones are probably the rare exception. And what might be more likely is that we're surrounded by paranormal activity all the time. It's just we either don't notice it. It's not, it's not angry or forcing itself. It's not banging doors necessarily. It's just a little tap, almost like a tap on the shoulder. Says, "Hey,
Yeah.
I'm here. I'm here."
Well, what's interesting
okay.
is think about how many episodes we filmed, and that's never happened in any
I've
of our
never seen it.
episodes. I've never stopped and said, "Hey, did you see that in the background?" I've never said that.
Yeah.
But tonight it happened
Yeah,
3 times.
3 times. That's weird. Well,
So thank you to the ghost for making an appearance. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Why didn't you show up earlier? Damn it.
Right? Next time.
We're on like episode what? 358, and now you decide to show up to the paranormal fucking podcast? Really?
Right?
By the way, what
Revenge.
episode number are we on right now?
I
So
have
this
no
is our
idea.
88th episode.
That's a lot of episodes.
Nice.
So we'll have to do something special when we get to our 100th
So
episode.
100. Yeah.
Maybe the ghost will make an even bigger appearance on our 100th episode.
Maybe I'll say, can you move that thing? That would be fun, dude. If we caught that, like
Yeah.
Maybe
said,
even
okay,
maybe even McVice will make an appearance.
yeah, he'd have to. We'll tell the ghost. We'll say, listen, we're gonna put this beer bottle on this thing back there. I'll do it already. Look, here's a thing to take. Spirit, if you're around, we're gonna put this right here. This should be very easy to pop off.
Nice. We're doing some ghost hunting live. This turned from an Eisenhower discussion to a ghostly encounter.
That's right on that edge, right? It's safe. You know, there shouldn't. It would take a conscious movement to make that tape fall off that.
All right, we'll see. Ghost,
if you're around,
do what you got to do, bruh.
Be a part of it, and I'll even go this way.
Yeah, there you go.
It's right there. So let's continue our maybe it's into FDR lore. I don't know. Maybe they're from that time period. FDR was their favorite, or Eisenhower. Yeah, maybe Eisenhower was their favorite president. Who knows?
Maybe it was.
I'll tell you what, though, Eisenhower was like the last president to ever do something like that. You know?
Yeah.
Well, JFK was, right? Wasn't JFK the last one talking about that?
He did talk about that. But I don't know if he called it the military-industrial complex, but he did talk about money in politics and how there was too much power being held in too many places. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about that we hadn't gotten to was that the fucking the money that was put towards weapons programs that today we would say no, you know, like all the chemical and biological weapons. I mean, so much money was put into those sections, not just the atomic stuff, right? Which there was a shit ton. We literally blew islands off the map in the Pacific with atomic weapons testing, but all the bioweapons testing and the shit that they were creating and with bioweapons, I bet you there had to have been, in today's dollars, billions of dollars spent on that shit.
So just again, I saw it to your left.
Another one? Well, let's see if it's gaining
it went up.
Energy. Dude,
yeah, it went up.
I got to be honest. If that thing falls, I'm going to be a little freaked out. I might have to be like, you know what? We're going to have to end this because I'm going to leave the room. You guys can discuss. I'm going to leave my I'm going to leave my camera on and everything, but I'm going to go get me another beer, and you guys just end it.
I was like, y'all got to get out of your house now. You got to leave now.
Right? Hey, where's the ghost trap when you need it?
We're like, run, motherfucker, run.
If that fucking tape falls, I'm going to be a bit scared. I will say.
Hey, no violence, Matthew?
I know, I'm right. I'm always all about, like, I want violence. Well, just a little. I'm talking a big game about violence and a little tap, and I can't handle it, right? Happens to me. What a hypocrite, right? I'm the one. I'm the one over here.
We had a good camera though this time. We had a good camera.
Yeah. I'm the one over here saying, "Come on, motherfucker, don't shake me." You know that weird entity is coming straight for you. You should be able to be. You know, and I'm like, the second it happens, I'm like, I'm out.
Speaking of, did y'all watch that video of the Bigfoot family I put in our little group chat?
I didn't watch it yet. No, I didn't watch it yet. I just saw that you had. That one's really good.
Check that out.
How long is it?
It's like, I think it's like about a couple of minutes long.
Okay,
but it's like a hiker, and he just ran across them. So he's like, "What the fuck?" And he's just filming them, you know, from a distance.
Yeah, I'll check
Maybe
it out.
we can do a podcast about it.
Yeah,
there's
it
so
might
many
be
things
worth
like.
it.
Yeah, there's so many ones that we want to do and stuff like that. Bigfoot definitely is one that, and it's always welcomed here.
Yeah,
yeah, it's kind of interesting. But anything else?
The other one I would say we should go back into looking at MH370. You guys remember that flight that basically disappeared?
Oh yeah, that just disappeared off the radar in the middle of the Pacific or whatever.
Yeah.
Or no, in Oceania. It was in the over there by Malaysia.
A few months ago, some stuff came out about it, like on the paranormal side of things. It was like, oh crap! So
what are the conspiracy theories related to supernatural in that plane?
So what's interesting is a hacker, hacked into U.S. spy satellites or something and got some footage of what shows MH370 flying. Well, and that's the thing, like. The hacker screwed up because he hacked into some high level satellites, right? And it also tells you that they're spying on everything, you know? So it shows MH370 flying, and then like some orbs pop up by it, and then they start circling the damn thing, and it disappears.
Interesting.
Yeah, dude. Like, holy fuck. Like, it just, I don't know. I haven't seen too much. Like, there's a little span of time for like a few days where there's some stories coming out and people talking. I haven't heard much about it ever since. So I gotta see what I could still find, man. But there's some stuff on YouTube, and this was like a few months ago. I was like, oh crap. See, I've never forgotten about MH370. I always knew something was up with that, you know?
It's weird. And without a black box.
Yeah, and see, most regular people, they've forgotten all about MH370, you know?
Yeah, because we're Americans here, and they don't care what's going on outside. I mean, all those victims were Australians, Malaysians,
Yeah,
Asians,
exactly.
Filipinos.
But everyone should be concerned, because how the fuck does a fucking
entire airplane get lost?
A 777, a big aircraft,
just
with all kinds of people just go missing, you know?
Like 300 and something people, right? Or 200 and something people?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, we have to check that one now.
Oh, yeah.
Anything else about the Eisenhower? We done? We good?
I think we're good. I think essentially we've kind of beat a dead horse on it in the sense that.
Well, there's one more thing. There's one more thing. And Gabe will remember this. You remember the show Project Blue Book, Project Blue Book that came out on History Channel?
Yeah.
You remember the episode with Eisenhower in it?
I don't.
You don't? You don't remember the episode with Eisenhower? So they took him to, I'm trying to remember, like, basically, I think someone had just been abducted or something. And he goes to some facility, you know? And then that's where he meets the, whatever the hell they are, aliens, whatever you want to call them, you know? And they basically tell him, you know, that they need to experiment on people. Like, he has to make a deal with them, basically. But that's not the important part. The important part is that Eisenhower was the president, you know?
So this
and like I said,
the 50s.
Yeah, you know?
Crazy.
Yeah, I don't remember that one. I'll have to check that one out again, but
I
know it's interesting. Like I said, him and JFK's speech, I think, to me, are the most ominous and revealing at the same time, right?
Sure.
Well, and you know, go ahead.
And I was just going to say, we see the impacts of some of that stuff today, right? All the companies that have money, that have government contracts, ultimate money and power, right?
In the trillions. Well, I was going to say, too, what's interesting about it is I bet you if we've got these elements, these black, essentially a shadow government within a government, they probably figured out, because you could make the argument that, well, why aren't any of the modern presidents saying anything about it? And my guess would be that they just figured out, back then they were still somehow connected to somewhat reporting. Like if a president dug down a rabbit hole deep enough, eventually he would find his way. But they figured out how to keep the elected government in the dark of the shadow government. And so maybe the reason there haven't been any, I mean, because wasn't Trump even saying, well, I'm going to get down to the bottom of this. There's going to be UFOs and blah, blah, blah. And everything that I've read about it has said that a lot of those officials, and I think it was also even Obama, I think had mentioned stuff about, like, there have been some presidents that have been like, we're going to get to the bottom of this. Just wait till we get into office. We're going to, you know, and then they get in and then they start sending their people, and their people start running into all these roadblocks, right? Roadblocks for days. Oh, here and good excuses for days. They just figured out how to just keep the.
Oh,
what was that?
Did you see that?
Yeah. That was right over here. I mean, I don't think it's dusty in here.
Oh, that was crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I did see that.
Oh, Red, did you see that?
No, I keep missing this crap, man. What the hell?
Where are you looking at, Reg? This one was like right here on the side.
Yeah, Reg, you need some glasses when we're gonna get you.
Put your glasses on, bro.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was right over here.
Yeah, that was right there.
It was like right here.
there's no bugs, right? There's nothing like that around.
No, there's
Wow.
nothing. There's nothing.
Gentlemen, that's 4 times we've caught stuff on camera. 4 times.
The only thing I can guess is, I mean, I don't think there's.
But dust doesn't turn up to the left like that.
I don't know.
You see how fast it was going?
And the other thing you got to remember too is because this is my comic book room. My vents, I cover my vents because we have a swamp cooler, right? So I don't leave these vents. I actually put stuff over them so that because I don't want moisture-laden water coming into this room. So there's no air conditioning in this room. There's no heat.
Oh,
there's another one.
What? No, dude. What?
Oh,
what did you just see?
It was right there.
It was in the fucking the fuck you're pointing to the TV. No, this one, that one.
Yeah.
Oh,
right there in that space.
What the heck?
Yeah, you're gonna have to go back. You're gonna have to get this one edited and put on
dude,
YouTube.
I got chills. Oh,
yeah.
fuck,
I'm not gonna tell Sebi about this. He won't.
Oh,
sleep tonight.
dude, it looked like a fucking light that went across.
It was like a little thing.
Oh, dude. Oh my God, I got chills.
I don't know, man.
Thank you so much, Ghost, for coming on our podcast tonight. We really
appreciate that. Now we need you to knock that tape thing over. Watch. I know, right? If that tape thing knocks over, shit's gonna get very real, very quick.
Dude, in all of our podcasts, we've never seen any. You've known me. I've never seen anything like this.
I can't say I've seen. I mean, those I saw. I mean, unless somewhere here.
Incredible.
I don't know, but like I said, there's no fan or anything creating movement, right? So I don't know. That's weird.
One of these nights, I'm not saying you have to, but you might want to leave your camera on to see what you can pick up. Because, dude, that's what 5 times.
That was a lot.
And that last one looked like a little light. That last one looked like a little light that went across the black.
Yeah. Well, dude. And I've got my ring cam. I could just set my ring cam up in here.
That is incredible.
See, the problem with that one is I can't record on that. No, I'd have to get one of my we've thought about this too.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Dude, this Ghost tonight is like wanting to be on camera. And Matt, again, look, let me just put this out there. Do you see around you any bugs flying or anything like that?
Not that I can see. And again, I mean, there is dust in this room, but there's no fans or I don't know.
Wow.
It's weird. Like I could see if there was a fan or air conditioning happening that could stir up dust. I mean, maybe me moving. I don't know.
Wow. I don't know what it is tonight, but
that's crazy.
The activity is going.
Yeah.
So, all right. I guess we'll end.
Let's see. Let's give the Ghost one last chance. Knock that fucker over. You're here.
Please, Ghost, could you do that for us? That would be great. Please. No?
No. Maybe it just doesn't have the energy.
Maybe. Well,
I don't know. Weird.
It's on camera. We've got 6 different instances, and I will film them and send them to you. And maybe on our next podcast, we can talk about this.
Yes. Yeah. If we can
what do you think?
Clip them all together?
Yes, I'll clip them all together.
Okay.
All right,
guys.
Gentlemen,
it's been fun.
That's our podcast. We'll see you later.
Have a good one.
Have a good one. Yep.
Check out this man meat right here.
Oh, no, not the
man meat.